Romantic love is often associated with intense passion, a whirlwind of emotions that sweep us off our feet and create an. Early in relationships, we are captivated by the fervor of desire, the excitement of new beginnings, and the thrill of deep emotional attachment. This passion, while exhilarating, can be fleeting. Over time, the intensity of these emotions may fade, and many couples are left wondering how to sustain their bond once the initial rush of infatuation begins to wane. This is where Stoic philosophy offers a transformative approach to love. Rather than relying solely on the capricious nature of passion, Stoicism teaches us to cultivate love through reason, virtue, and shared purpose. Stoic wisdom encourages us to move beyond emotional reactivity and fleeting desires, fostering respect, personal growth, and emotional resilience. The Stoic journey of love is about transforming passion into something deeper, an enduring connection built on wisdom, integrity, and a commitment to continuous self-improvement. For the Stoic, love is not just an emotional experience, but a moral endeavor that helps both partners grow into the best versions of themselves. By embracing Stoic principles such as the dichotomy of control, acceptance of impermanence, and the pursuit of virtue, romantic love evolves from a fleeting emotion into a stable and to become a source of lasting fulfillment, not based on transient desires, but on a shared commitment to a life of wisdom, understanding, and mutual growth. In this way, Stoicism helps transform passion into a love that is meaningful, purposeful, and enduring. Number 1. Stoic love: how to cultivate deep, lasting connections. In a world as a whirlwind of intense emotion and fleeting passion, Stoic philosophy offers a more grounded and enduring approach to cultivating meaningful and lasting relationships. Driven by momentary desires or external circumstances, but is based on principles of reason, virtue, and mutual growth. At the core of Stoic love is the understanding that true connection on a foundation of shared values, deep respect, and a commitment to personal and relational growth. Rather than relying on the ebbs and flows of passionate emotions, Stoicism teaches us to approach love with clarity and purpose, recognizing that genuine connection comes from shared wisdom, emotional maturity, and the cultivation of virtues like kindness, patience, and understanding. One of the key components of Stoic love is self-mastery. Stoics emphasize the importance of controlling our impulses, allowing us to love more freely and authentically. This means not allowing feelings of jealousy, insecurity, or possessiveness to govern our actions, but instead responding with a sense of calm and rationality. When we cultivate self-mastery, we can offer love to others not out of need or from a place of inner strength and emotional balance. This helps to form deeper, more stable connections, as both partners are able to engage with each other from a space of mutual respect and support, rather than from a desire to fulfill unmet emotional needs. Another crucial element of Stoic love is the dichotomy of control, the understanding that we cannot control, but we can control how we react. In relationships, this means accepting that our partner is an independent person with their own thoughts, feelings, and actions. Rather than trying to change or control our partner, Stoicism encourages us to focus on how we can improve ourselves and how we respond to the circumstances that arise in the relationship. By embracing this mindset, we free ourselves from the unrealistic expectations that often lead to frustration and disappointment. Instead, we learn to appreciate accepting their flaws and imperfections as part of their unique identity. Additionally, virtue plays a central role in Stoic love. For the Stoics, living virtuously means acting in accordance with wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance. In relationships, this means consistently striving to embody faced with challenges. For example, when disagreements or conflicts arise, the Stoic approach is to handle them with wisdom and fairness, striving to understand the other person's perspective without becoming consumed by anger or frustration. By approaching relationships with a focus on virtue, we build trust and respect, creating a relationship that is rooted in moral integrity and mutual growth. Thus, the importance of acceptance and impermanence. The Stoics remind us that everything in life is transient, and this includes the phases of a relationship. Passion may fade, and in reason and virtue remains a steady anchor. By accepting the impermanence of certain emotions or experiences, we are less likely to be swayed by fleeting moods or challenges. Instead, we can approach love with resilience, knowing that the true strength of a relationship lies not in the intensity of its emotions, but in the commitment to shared values and ongoing growth. This helps to foster a deep, enduring connection that can withstand the tests of time and adversity. In the end, Stoic love is about creating meaningful connections that are not dependent on external, but are instead built on mutual respect, understanding, and the shared pursuit of virtue. By practicing self-mastery, focusing on what is within our control, and striving to live virtuously, we can cultivate deep, lasting connections that provide a strong foundation for both personal and relational, just as a source of emotional satisfaction, but as a means of growing together and becoming better versions of ourselves. This kind of love is steady, resilient, and lasting, offering a deep sense of fulfillment that transcends the fleeting nature of passion and desire. Number 2, expectations versus reality. A Stoic guide to managing love's challenges. One of the most significant sources of frustration and disappointment in romantic relationships is the mismatch between expectations and reality. We often enter relationships with a set of ideals or assumptions about how our partner should behave, how the relationship will unfold, and what love should feel like. These past experiences or personal desires can create unrealistic standards that set us up for emotional conflict when reality doesn't align with our vision. This is where Stoicism offers invaluable guidance. The Stoic approach teaches us to confront these challenges with clarity, acceptance, and emotional resilience, helping us navigate the inevitable gap between our expectations and the reality of love. The Stoic principle of the dichotomy of control is crucial in understanding how to manage the tension between expectation and reality. In relationships, we often place our hopes and desires in the hands of our partner, believing that they should meet our needs, fulfill our emotional requirements, or act in a certain way. However, the Stoics remind us that while we can control our own thoughts, actions, and responses, we cannot control how others behave. By recognizing this, we free ourselves from the burden of expecting our partner to fulfill all our desires and instead focus on what we can control: how we react, how we communicate, and how we manage our emotions. When we stop expecting perfection or complete control over the other person's behavior, we can approach the relationship with greater acceptance and peace. One of the key teachings of Stoicism is the importance of acceptance. Rather than being consumed by frustration when our partner doesn't meet our expectations, the Stoic approach encourages us to accept our partner for. We are reminded that no one is perfect, and that love is not about expecting someone to conform to our idealized version of them, but about appreciating them as they are. This acceptance is not about settling for less or resigning ourselves to dissatisfaction, but rather about shifting our focus from unrealistic expectations to a deeper appreciation for the person in front of us, with all their. In doing so, we create a foundation of realistic love that is built on understanding and mutual respect, rather than the pursuit of unattainable ideals. Additionally, self-reflection plays an important role in managing the gap between expectations and reality. Stoicism teaches us to engage in constant self-examination, to question the beliefs and assumptions that shape our expectations. Are we expecting too much from our partner? Are we placing unrealistic demands on them based on our own? The Stoic practice of self-awareness allows us to recognize when our expectations are rooted in unreasonable desires or a need for external validation, and helps us recalibrate our thinking to align more closely with reality. By practicing self-reflection, we can shift our focus from what we can contribute to the relationship. This not only reduces unnecessary friction, but also fosters a more balanced and mature approach to love. Furthermore, Stoicism teaches us the value of impermanence, the understanding that all things, including romantic relationships, the intense emotions we feel in the early stages of love, may not last forever, and situations will inevitably arise that challenge our initial expectations. Instead of resisting or resenting change, Stoicism encourages us to embrace it as part of the natural course of life. By accepting that love, like everything, we are better prepared to manage the highs and lows of relationships with grace and composure. This mindset helps us move beyond disappointment when things don't go as planned, and instead find meaning in the process of growth and adaptation that relationships offer. The Stoic approach to love also involves adjusting our expectations to be more realistic and grounded in what is truly important. While passion and emotional highs can be intoxicating, they are not the foundation of a stable and fulfilling relationship. Number 3, the Stoic art of letting go, releasing expectations in love. In romantic relationships, one of the most challenging yet transformative practices is the art of letting go, releasing our expectations, desires, and attachments to outcomes that we cannot control. Stoicism, with its emphasis on accepting what we cannot change and focusing on what we can, offers a profound framework for cultivating emotional resilience in love. We often enter relationships with expectations about how our partner should behave, how they should make us feel, or how the relationship should unfold. These expectations can create pressure on both ourselves and our partner, leading to frustration, disappointment, and even resentment when reality doesn't align with our idealized vision. The Stoic path, however, teaches us that true freedom in love comes from letting go of these rigid expectations and instead embracing a mindset of acceptance and emotional detachment from the outcome. The dichotomy of control, a central Stoic principle, reminds us that while we cannot control the actions, feelings, or decisions of our partner, we can control our own reactions and attitudes. By understanding this, we release the need to control or change our partner to fit our desires or expectations. Instead, we focus on managing our own emotional responses, recognizing that love should not be a means of fulfilling our own insecurities or unrealistic hopes. Letting go of expectations allows us to see our partner clearly for who they truly are, not as a projection of our own wishes. This shift in perspective fosters a deeper sense of peace as we stop measuring our love by the fulfillment of specific expectations and instead appreciate the love we share for what it is in the present moment. Acceptance is another core Stoic practice that plays a crucial role in letting go. When we let go of the idea that our partner needs to act in a certain way or meet our specific expectations, we open ourselves to a more authentic connection. We begin to accept not just our partner's strengths, but also their flaws and imperfections. Stoics teach that human beings are inherently imperfect, and it is through embracing these imperfections, both in ourselves and in others, that we can experience love that is deeply human and fulfilling. Acceptance in love means releasing the desire for perfection or control, and instead learning to love our partner for who they are in their entirety. This includes not just the qualities we admire, but also the parts we may find challenging. The practice of acceptance creates space for a love that is grounded in the present moment rather than in what we wish the relationship would be. Letting go of expectations also means releasing attachment to specific outcomes. In many relationships, we place an undue amount of focus on the future, on what we hope the relationship will lead to, whether it's marriage, children, or some other shared milestone. While it's natural to have desires for the future, Stoicism encourages us to focus on what we can control in the here and now, how we engage with our partner today, how we show up with love and care, and how we grow as individuals together. By letting go of the need to force a particular outcome, we can learn to appreciate the journey of love, embracing the uncertainty and the ebb and flow of emotions that come with it. Instead of clinging to a fixed image of what the relationship should be, we allow the relationship to unfold naturally, with a sense of curiosity and openness. Moreover, emotional detachment does not mean coldness or indifference. It is the practice of freeing ourselves from emotional dependence, recognizing that our happiness and fulfillment do not depend solely on the actions of our partner or the outcome of the relationship. In Stoicism, emotional detachment is about inner peace, the ability to maintain emotional balance even in the face of uncertainty or adversity. This allows us to experience love with a sense of tranquility without becoming overly attached to the highs and lows of our emotional states. By letting go of the need for constant reassurance, validation, or emotional highs, we create a space for love that is steady, resilient, and grounded in mutual respect and understanding. Another important aspect of the Stoic approach to letting go in love is the practice of reflecting on impermanence. The Stoics teach that everything in life is temporary, and this includes our feelings, our relationships, and even our love itself. Recognizing the impermanence of love allows us to appreciate the present moment without the fear of loss or change. When we understand that nothing lasts forever, we are less likely to cling to expectations or fear the end of a particular phase in our relationship. This recognition frees us to fully embrace the love we have now without trying to hold on to it or force it into a specific mold. By accepting the transitory nature of life and love, we allow ourselves to live more fully in the present, appreciating the depth of connection we have without becoming attached to the idea of permanence. Ultimately, letting go in love is about releasing the need for control, expectations, and attachments to specific outcomes. It's about embracing the freedom to love authentically, appreciating our partner for who they are, and finding peace in the present moment. By applying Stoic principles of acceptance, emotional resilience, and self-mastery, we can create deeper, more fulfilling connections that are not based on external expectations, but on a shared commitment to personal growth, mutual respect, and love. In this way, Stoicism offers a path to love that is rooted in wisdom, not in idealization, allowing us to experience love that is free, meaningful, and lasting. Number 4. The power of virtue in relationships. How Stoicism transforms love. At the heart of Stoicism lies the belief that living virtuously is the key to a meaningful and fulfilled life. When applied to relationships, this principle can transform love from an emotional roller coaster into a steady, resilient force that fosters mutual respect, growth, and long-term connection. Stoic virtue encompasses qualities such as wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. Virtues that, when cultivated in both individuals within a relationship, create a solid foundation for lasting love. Rather than being driven by fleeting emotions or external circumstances, love rooted in virtue is anchored in personal integrity and moral strength, allowing partners to navigate the inevitable challenges of life and love with grace and understanding. The Stoic virtue of wisdom plays a crucial role in transforming love by helping partners approach their relationship with clarity and discernment. Wisdom allows individuals to see their partner for who they truly are, free from idealization or projection, and to make decisions that are based on mutual benefit and long-term well-being rather than temporary desires or emotional impulses. It encourages reflection and self-awareness, helping partners recognize when their actions are driven by selfishness, insecurity, or external pressures, and guiding them back to a place of rational, thoughtful engagement. Wisdom also enables partners to better manage conflicts, making decisions that are not motivated by pride or anger, but by a desire for mutual growth and understanding. Another vital Stoic virtue that transforms love is courage. In relationships, courage is not only about facing external challenges, but also about confronting the difficult emotions and vulnerabilities that arise within the bond. True courage in love means being able to express one's feelings honestly and openly, even when it's uncomfortable, and to take the risks necessary for deep emotional connection. It involves the courage to be vulnerable, to acknowledge flaws, and to work through disagreements with an open mind. This courage is what enables partners to stay committed to each other during tough times, face the realities of the relationship, and continue striving for improvement without fear of failure or rejection. Justice, another central Stoic virtue, profoundly impacts the way partners treat each other in love. In the context of relationships, justice is about fairness, equality, and mutual respect. Stoics understand that love is not about one person fulfilling the needs or desires of the other, but about both partners contributing to the relationship in equal measure, supporting one another's growth, and ensuring that each person's voice is heard and valued. Practicing justice in love means prioritizing the well-being of the relationship as a whole, rather than seeking to dominate or control the other person. It involves creating a partnership where both individuals are treated with respect and where fairness guides decision-making, ensuring that both parties contribute to the emotional, physical, and intellectual growth of the relationship. The virtue of temperance is also essential in fostering a balanced, harmonious relationship. Temperance is about moderation and self-control, helping individuals resist the urge to act impulsively or react emotionally to difficult situations. In the context of love, temperance prevents partners from becoming overwhelmed by negative emotions such as jealousy, frustration, or possessiveness. It encourages a measured response to challenges and allows partners to avoid extremes, whether it's excessive attachment, unrealistic expectations, or excessive detachment. Temperance allows love to thrive without being governed by the unpredictable highs and lows of emotional extremes, creating a stable environment where both partners can grow and thrive without being consumed by the forces of passion or fear. When partners apply Stoic virtues to their relationship, they move beyond the superficial aspects of love, such as physical attraction, fleeting romantic gestures, or the highs and lows of emotional dependence, and instead build a bond that is resilient, based on shared values and mutual respect. Stoic love is not about seeking perfection in each other, but about striving for improvement together, supporting each other's growth, and cultivating a deep sense of moral integrity in the partnership. It's a love that is sustained not by passion alone, but by the commitment to being virtuous partners who encourage and challenge each other to be the best versions of themselves. Furthermore, the application of virtue in relationships allows individuals to experience a deeper sense of fulfillment and inner peace. By aligning with Stoic principles, love becomes a path of personal growth, where each partner's actions are not only guided by love for the other, but also by the pursuit of wisdom, justice, and virtue in their own lives. This creates a relationship dynamic in which both individuals are constantly evolving, learning from one another, and fostering a partnership that is based on respect, understanding, and mutual growth. Ultimately, the power of virtue in relationships, as seen through the lens of Stoicism, is transformative. It shifts love from a passive, emotion-driven experience into a dynamic, purposeful journey. Stoic virtues create the framework for love that is grounded in rationality, equity, courage, and self-control, ensuring that love can endure life's challenges and continue to grow with each passing day. By embodying these virtues, both individuals in the relationship can cultivate a bond that is strong, enduring, and capable of withstanding the inevitable challenges that arise, creating a deeper, more meaningful connection that transcends the superficial aspects of romance and evolves into a true partnership rooted in wisdom, respect, and shared growth. Number 5. Self-love and acceptance, the Stoic foundation for healthy relationships. At the heart of Stoic philosophy lies the idea that before we can love others, we must first love and accept ourselves. Self-love in the Stoic sense is not about narcissism or vanity. It's about cultivating a deep, respectful appreciation for our own inherent worth and embracing our strengths and weaknesses with equal compassion. This foundational principle is essential for creating healthy relationships because it enables individuals to approach love from a place of emotional stability and self-awareness. Self-acceptance, the ability to acknowledge and embrace all parts of ourselves, both the good and the flawed, is the cornerstone of this process. Without it, we risk projecting our insecurities onto others or entering relationships seeking validation or fulfillment from external sources rather than from within. In contrast, Stoic self-love empowers us to form relationships based on mutual respect, understanding, and shared growth, rather than the need for external affirmation. A key aspect of Stoic self-love is the practice of self-reflection. Stoicism encourages individuals to regularly examine their thoughts, actions, and motivations, fostering a deep understanding of who we are and what drives us. This self-awareness helps us identify areas of growth, but also reminds us to embrace our imperfections. Self-acceptance in this context means being at peace with our flaws and recognizing that we, like all human beings, are works in progress. In relationships, this awareness allows us to enter partnerships with a sense of humility, free from the burden of seeking perfection or pretending to be someone we're not. When we accept ourselves, we free ourselves from unrealistic expectations and instead focus on what we can contribute to the relationship, fostering a more balanced dynamic between ourselves and our partner. In Stoic philosophy, virtue is the ultimate source of happiness and fulfillment. When we practice virtue through wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance, we not only improve ourselves, but also enhance the quality of our relationships. Self-love, therefore, is not about indulging in self-pity or self-centeredness, but about aligning our actions with our values. It's about respecting our own dignity and acting in ways that honor our principles, which in turn allows us to create relationships that are built on respect and integrity. When we are self-aware and self-accepting, we are able to give and receive love in a healthy, balanced way, rather than relying on others to complete us or fill voids that only we can address within ourselves. Another key element of Stoic self-love is the dichotomy of control, which teaches us to recognize the difference between what we can control and what we cannot. In relationships, this principle is particularly important because it helps us avoid unhealthy attachment or codependency. Instead of seeking validation or emotional support from our partner to feel whole, we learn to manage our own emotions and well-being. This emotional autonomy not only strengthens our own sense of self-love, but also ensures that we are able to give love freely without the underlying expectation of receiving something in return. When we are comfortable in our own skin and capable of meeting our own emotional needs, we approach relationships from a place of strength, not neediness. The Stoic approach to self-love also emphasizes the importance of emotional resilience. Life and relationships are inevitably filled with challenges, disappointments, and moments of emotional turbulence. Stoic self-love does not mean avoiding difficult emotions or pretending everything is always fine. Rather, it means cultivating the inner strength to face adversity with grace and composure. In relationships, this emotional resilience allows us to weather the inevitable storms without losing our sense of self or projecting our emotional turmoil onto our partner. It helps us maintain emotional equilibrium, even in times of stress, and encourages us to support our partner in a way that is calm and constructive rather than reactive or demanding. The ability to manage our own emotions with resilience ensures that we don't depend on others to make us feel better, and instead allows us to engage in love as a force of mutual support and growth. Self-love and acceptance, as taught by Stoicism, also encourage us to develop healthy boundaries in relationships. When we love and accept ourselves, we become more attuned to our own needs, desires, and limits. This self-awareness enables us to establish boundaries that protect our emotional well-being while still allowing for deep connection and intimacy. Healthy boundaries are essential for maintaining a sense of self-respect and for creating relationships that are balanced and equitable. Rather than being driven by fear of rejection or a desire to please others, Stoic self-love allows us to be clear about what we are willing to tolerate, ensuring that our relationships are respectful and mutually fulfilling. Ultimately, the Stoic foundation of self-love and acceptance creates a virtuous cycle that enhances the health and longevity of relationships. When we are grounded in self-awareness, self-respect, and emotional autonomy, we are better equipped to love others in a way that is balanced, supportive, and genuine. Self-love allows us to enter relationships with a clear sense of who we are and what we want, without relying on our partner to fill emotional gaps or validate our worth. It encourages us to give love freely without the expectation of something in return, and to accept our partner as they are, knowing that true love is about growth, understanding, and mutual respect. In this way, Stoicism shows us that the foundation of a healthy, lasting relationship is not the desire to be loved, but the capacity to love and accept ourselves fully, allowing us to offer the same to others. Number 6. Stoicism in love. Turning disappointment into growth. In any romantic relationship, disappointment is inevitable. Whether it's unmet expectations, miscommunications, or challenges that arise over time, there will be moments when love feels less than fulfilling. However, Stoicism offers a transformative approach to these experiences, teaching us not only how to cope with disappointment, but how to use it as an opportunity for growth and self-improvement. At the core of Stoic philosophy is the belief in the dichotomy of control, the understanding that while we cannot control external events, we can control our reactions and our attitudes toward them. This principle is especially relevant in love, where the actions and emotions of our partner are beyond our control. When disappointment strikes, Stoicism encourages us to shift our focus inward and evaluate how we can grow from the situation rather than being consumed by frustration, resentment, or self-pity. The Stoic mindset allows us to reframe disappointment not as a personal failure or an insurmountable obstacle, but as an opportunity for learning and personal development. When our partner does something that causes us pain or disappointment, the Stoic approach is to ask, "What can I learn from this?" Instead of ruminating on the injustice or feeling betrayed, we use the experience to reflect on our own expectations, behaviors, and reactions. Stoicism teaches that much of our suffering comes from unrealistic expectations or a failure to accept things as they are, rather than how we want them to be. By practicing acceptance and detachment from the outcome, we can let go of the need for things to unfold in a particular way and focus instead on how we respond with wisdom and emotional resilience. Another critical aspect of Stoicism in the face of disappointment is the cultivation of emotional resilience. When we experience emotional pain in relationships, it's easy to feel overwhelmed or discouraged. However, Stoicism teaches us to view these emotions not as something to avoid, but as a natural part of life that we can manage with virtue and strength. Disappointment in love can serve as a powerful reminder to cultivate inner peace and to focus on our own emotional self-sufficiency. Stoic practice involves recognizing that we are not powerless over our emotional state and that we have the capacity to manage our responses and find peace within ourselves, regardless of external circumstances. Instead of letting disappointment define us, we choose to use it as a stepping stone toward emotional maturity and personal growth. One of the most profound lessons Stoicism offers in love is the importance of impermanence. All things, including relationships and emotions, are transient. The Stoics remind us that attachment to any particular outcome can lead to disappointment, but accepting that everything is temporary can free us from this attachment. When we face disappointment in love, it's helpful to remember that relationships, like everything else, are in a constant state of flux. The intensity of our emotions, whether positive or negative, will eventually pass. This understanding of impermanence helps us detach from the need for a specific outcome and fosters an attitude of acceptance. Instead of clinging to the idea of how things should be, we learn to embrace the fluid nature of relationships and accept that growth often arises from challenges. Stoicism also teaches us the importance of self-reflection in times of disappointment. Rather than focusing solely on the other person's shortcomings or blaming them for the pain we feel, the Stoic approach encourages us to turn inward. What role did we play in the situation? Were our expectations too rigid or unrealistic? How can we adjust our thinking or actions to foster a healthier, more resilient relationship moving forward? By adopting this reflective approach, we move beyond a mindset of victimhood or frustration and instead take responsibility for our part in the relationship. This empowers us to grow and make positive changes, not only in how we respond to disappointments, but also in how we approach love and connection in the future. Moreover, Stoicism emphasizes the development of virtue in all areas of life, including relationships. In the face of disappointment, we are called to embody virtues such as wisdom, patience, courage, and justice. Wisdom helps us understand that disappointment is often a result of unrealistic expectations or lack of understanding. Patience teaches us to tolerate the discomfort of emotional pain and wait for clarity. Courage allows us to face difficult truths and have the difficult conversations that may lead to growth. Justice ensures that we treat ourselves and our partner with respect and fairness, even when we feel hurt or upset. By practicing these virtues, we transform disappointment from a negative experience into an opportunity for deeper connection, understanding, and emotional maturity. Lastly, the Stoic belief in fate and universal order offers comfort and perspective in times of relationship disappointment. According to Stoicism, Everything that happens is part of the larger, interconnected fabric of life, and everything has a purpose in the grand scheme. When we experience heartbreak or disappointment in love, Stoicism invites us to trust in the unfolding of life and to believe that even difficult experiences are a necessary part of our growth and development. Instead of seeing disappointment as something that happens to us, we come to view it as something that happens for us, an opportunity to learn, evolve, and align ourselves with the larger forces of nature and the universe. Number 7. The Stoic path to emotional freedom in love. In the context of love, emotional freedom is a powerful and liberating concept. It's the ability to experience love without being overwhelmed by the highs and lows of emotional attachment, without being enslaved by the desire for approval or the fear of rejection. Stoicism, with its emphasis on self-control, detachment, and rational thinking, offers a profound path to achieving this emotional freedom. At its core, Stoicism teaches us that while we cannot control the actions, feelings, or desires of others, we can always control how we respond to them. This internal locus of control is what allows us to experience love without becoming emotionally dependent on our partner or the outcome of the relationship. Through the practice of Stoicism, we learn to approach love not as a source of emotional turmoil or dependency, but as a space for growth, mutual respect, and tranquility. One of the central Stoic principles that facilitate emotional freedom in love is the idea of detachment. Stoic detachment doesn't mean withdrawing emotionally from a relationship, nor does it suggest indifference. Instead, it's about not allowing your happiness or sense of self-worth to be entirely dependent on another person's actions or emotions. Love, in its deepest form, is about offering affection, support, and commitment without becoming emotionally enslaved by the relationship. Stoics view attachment to external outcomes as a form of vulnerability that leads to suffering. When we are too attached to a particular outcome, whether it's the way we want our partner to behave or the direction the relationship should take, we create emotional chaos. By practicing detachment, we learn to love freely and without fear of losing ourselves in the process. Another vital Stoic teaching that leads to emotional freedom in love is the practice of acceptance. Stoics believe that true peace comes from accepting reality as it is, rather than trying to mold it into what we wish it would be. In relationships, this means accepting both our partner's flaws and our own imperfections. Many times we fall into the trap of expecting our partner to meet our idealized vision of love, which often leads to frustration when reality does not align with our expectations. The Stoic path encourages us to embrace love not as a perfect, idealized experience, but as something that is deeply human and imperfect. By accepting our partner for who they truly are, rather than who we want them to be, we free ourselves from unrealistic expectations and emotional disappointment. This acceptance of imperfection in love fosters peace and emotional freedom, because it allows us to love without the constant need for things to be a certain way. The Stoic idea of rationality also plays a key role in achieving emotional freedom in love. In relationships, our emotions can often run high, clouding our judgment and leading to reactions driven by fear, jealousy, or insecurity. Stoicism teaches us to cultivate rational thinking in the face of intense emotions. When faced with emotional challenges in love, whether it's jealousy, anger, or frustration, the Stoic approach is to pause and assess the situation logically. Instead of allowing ourselves to be swept away by strong emotions, we take a step back, analyze our feelings, and ask ourselves whether our emotional reaction is truly aligned with our values and long-term goals. This practice of emotional regulation allows us to respond to relationship challenges with clarity and composure, rather than reacting impulsively or letting our emotions dictate our behavior. Rationality gives us the freedom to choose our response, to act thoughtfully rather than being controlled by our feelings. Furthermore, the Stoic belief in the dichotomy of control plays a vital role in fostering emotional freedom in love. Stoics teach that we should focus our energy on what is within our control and let go of concerns about what we cannot change. In love, this means understanding that we cannot control our partner's feelings, actions, or decisions. This recognition frees us from the burden of trying to fix the relationship or change our partner to meet our expectations. Instead, we focus on what we can control: our own thoughts, actions, and reactions. When we apply this Stoic principle, we release the emotional pressure of trying to force a relationship into a specific mold. We accept that love is not about controlling another person or orchestrating every detail of the relationship, but about coexisting in a way that supports mutual growth and respect. The Stoic practice of virtue, cultivating qualities such as wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance, also contributes significantly to emotional freedom in love. By striving to embody virtue in our relationships, we create a solid foundation of integrity, trust, and emotional maturity. Wisdom helps us make rational decisions. Courage allows us to face emotional challenges with resilience. Justice encourages fairness and respect in our interactions, and temperance teaches us emotional balance. These virtues not only help us navigate the emotional landscape of love, but also give us the strength to remain grounded and centered, even when external circumstances challenge us. A Stoic approach to love, grounded in virtue, empowers us to respond to difficulties with wisdom and equanimity, rather than being swept away by emotional turmoil. Finally, the Stoic view of impermanence is crucial for emotional freedom in love. The Stoics remind us that everything in life, including love, is temporary and in constant flux. Relationships, emotions, and circumstances are always changing. By embracing this transient nature of love, we free ourselves from the need to hold on to specific outcomes or idealized versions of the relationship. Instead of clinging to an image of perfection, we learn to appreciate love as it is, in its ever-changing form. This understanding of impermanence allows us to approach love with a sense of detachment, not from the relationship itself, but from the fear of losing it or needing it to remain static. We become more adaptable, more able to flow with the natural rhythms of the relationship, and more at peace with whatever comes. Number 8. Aligning expectations with reality, the Stoic approach to love. In relationships, one of the most common sources of frustration and disappointment arises from the mismatch between our expectations and the reality of the situation. Whether it's the way we expect our partner to behave, how we envision the progression of the relationship, or what we hope to get out of the connection, expectations often lead to emotional turmoil when reality doesn't align with what we had imagined. Stoicism, however, offers a powerful framework for managing this tension by teaching us to align our expectations with the reality of the present moment, rather than clinging to idealized versions of love or relationships. By applying Stoic principles to love, we can learn to approach relationships with a sense of acceptance and equanimity, understanding that the world is not always going to unfold as we want it to, but that we have control over how we respond to it. At the heart of the Stoic approach to love is the recognition of the dichotomy of control, the idea that we can control our own thoughts, actions, and reactions, but not the actions or emotions of others. This principle encourages us to acknowledge that we cannot control our partner's behavior, thoughts, or feelings, and that expecting them to meet our idealized standards can only lead to frustration. When we set unrealistic expectations for our partner, we set ourselves up for disappointment. Stoicism teaches that we should not expect perfection, but rather accept our partner as they are, with all their flaws and imperfections. When we align our expectations with the reality that no one is perfect, we open ourselves up to a more peaceful and fulfilling experience of love, free from the constant pressure of trying to mold our partner into someone they are not. Another key Stoic concept that helps align expectations with reality in love is acceptance, not just of others, but of ourselves and our own limitations. When we accept that relationships are complex and often imperfect, we free ourselves from the frustration of wanting them to be flawless. This acceptance does not mean settling for less than we deserve or tolerating unhealthy behavior, but it does mean being at peace with the natural ebb and flow of love. Relationships, like all aspects of life, come with challenges and moments of difficulty. The Stoic approach encourages us to accept these realities without becoming disillusioned or emotionally reactive. Rather than being swept away by frustration or disappointment when things don't go as planned, we learn to adjust our expectations to the reality of the situation. By doing so, we maintain emotional balance and resilience, and we avoid becoming overwhelmed by the inevitable ups and downs that come with love. Stoicism also teaches the importance of rationality in relationships, especially when it comes to expectations. Often, our emotional reactions are driven by unexamined assumptions or fantasies about how things should be. For example, we may expect our partner to always agree with us, to be constantly affectionate, or to fulfill all our emotional needs. These expectations, while perhaps rooted in a desire for connection or security, can create unnecessary pressure on both ourselves and our partner. The Stoic approach encourages us to step back from these assumptions and examine whether they are realistic or fair. Are our expectations of our partner reasonable? Are they based on a true understanding of who they are, or are they based on idealized notions of love? By asking ourselves these questions, one of the most freeing aspects of Stoicism in love is its emphasis on impermanence. The Stoics remind us that all things, including relationships, are temporary and constantly changing. By embracing this truth, we can release the need for things to remain static or fixed in our minds. Expectations based on an idea of how things should be forever can lead to disappointment when the reality of change inevitably sets in. Love, like all things, is subject to growth and transformation. Understanding the impermanent nature of relationships encourages us to let go of rigid expectations and embrace the natural flow of love. Instead of clinging to an idealized vision of the relationship, we learn to appreciate it for what it is in the present moment, understanding that it will evolve and change over time. This shift in perspective allows us to release the pressure of trying to control the future and instead focus on what we can control, the quality of our connection in the here and now. Additionally, the Stoic practice of self-reflection plays a crucial role in aligning expectations with reality. Stoicism encourages us to regularly examine our own thoughts, desires, and motivations in order to cultivate greater self-awareness. When we reflect on our expectations, we become more conscious of whether they are rooted in reality or in unrealistic ideals. Are we projecting our own unmet needs onto our partner? Are we expecting them to fulfill roles that only we can truly address for ourselves? Through self-reflection, we can identify any misalignments between our expectations and reality and make adjustments accordingly. This process of introspection helps us understand our own emotional landscape and develop a more realistic and compassionate approach to love. Stoicism also promotes the cultivation of virtue in relationships. Virtues such as wisdom, patience, justice, and temperance are essential for fostering healthy relationships based on mutual understanding and respect. By practicing these virtues, we can better manage our expectations and approach love with a sense of clarity and balance. Wisdom helps us recognize that love, like all aspects of life, is unpredictable and sometimes challenging. Patience allows us to accept the natural course of a relationship, even when things aren't going exactly as we envisioned. Justice encourages us to treat our partner with fairness and to adjust our expectations in a way that honors both their needs and our own. Temperance helps us avoid over-attachment or emotional over-investment in a particular outcome, encouraging us to remain calm and composed no matter what happens. Ultimately, the Stoic approach to love is about letting go of the need to control or force outcomes and instead learning to accept and adapt to the realities of the relationship. By aligning our expectations with reality, we create space for more authentic, fulfilling, and peaceful connections. When we approach love with this mindset, we free ourselves from the anxiety and disappointment that come from unrealistic expectations, allowing us to experience love as it truly is, not as we wish it to be, but as it unfolds naturally. This acceptance of reality brings us closer to emotional freedom and enables us to form deeper, more resilient relationships that are based on mutual understanding, respect, and growth. Number 9. The role of rationality in romantic love, applying Stoic wisdom. In romantic love, emotions often run high, and it's easy to become swept away by the intensity of feelings, whether they are joy, passion, jealousy, or even anger. While emotions are a natural and important part of human experience, Stoicism teaches us that they can sometimes cloud our judgment and lead us to make impulsive or irrational decisions. The Stoic approach to love emphasizes the power of rationality, the ability to think clearly, evaluate situations logically, and respond thoughtfully rather than react emotionally. By applying Stoic wisdom to our romantic relationships, we can use rationality as a tool to navigate the complexities of love, avoiding the pitfalls of unchecked emotions and creating more stable, harmonious connections with our partners. One of the core tenets of Stoicism is that we are responsible for our own emotions and reactions. While we cannot control how others feel or behave, we have full control over how we respond to situations. This is where rationality becomes a vital aspect of Stoic love. When faced with emotional challenges, such as a disagreement with a partner, feelings of jealousy, or the fear of rejection, Stoicism teaches us to pause and reflect before reacting. Instead of acting on impulse or letting our emotions drive our actions, we take a step back, assess the situation, and consider the best course of action. By exercising rationality in these moments, we are able to make decisions that are aligned with our values and long-term goals, rather than being governed by transient emotions that may not serve us well in the long run. Rationality in love, according to Stoicism, also involves detachment, the ability to love deeply and passionately, while not becoming overly attached to a particular outcome or to the behavior of our partner. Stoics argue that excessive attachment to external outcomes can lead to unnecessary suffering, especially when those outcomes are out of our control. For example, we may have expectations about how we want our partner to behave, how the relationship should progress, or even what kind of emotions we want to feel. However, when we become overly attached to these outcomes, we set ourselves up for disappointment. Rational thinking helps us detach from these idealized expectations and accept the reality of the relationship as it is. By embracing detachment, we can love more freely without the pressure of needing things to be a certain way. Another important aspect of applying rationality in romantic love is the practice of self-awareness. Stoics emphasize the need for regular introspection in order to understand our desires, motivations, and emotional triggers. When we approach our relationships with a rational mindset, we take the time to evaluate our own feelings and behaviors. Are we reacting from a place of insecurity or fear, or are we responding from a place of clarity and understanding? Self-awareness allows us to recognize when our emotions are clouding our judgment, so we can choose to act with wisdom rather than emotional impulse. This practice of reflection also helps us understand our own needs and boundaries, so that we can communicate more effectively with our partner and ensure that the relationship remains healthy and balanced. In addition, Stoicism encourages the cultivation of virtue in our relationships. Virtues such as wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance provide a rational framework for how we interact with others in love. Wisdom helps us see beyond our immediate emotions and assess situations with clarity and discernment. Justice guides us to treat our partner with fairness and respect, ensuring that we take both their needs and our own into account. Courage empowers us to face difficult conversations or emotional challenges rather than avoiding them due to fear. Temperance teaches us to practice moderation in our feelings and reactions, helping us to avoid emotional extremes that can disrupt the harmony of the relationship. By cultivating these virtues, we create a foundation of rationality that allows us to handle romantic love with integrity, balance, and emotional resilience. Rationality also plays a crucial role in managing expectations within romantic relationships. The Stoics remind us that our expectations often shape our emotional responses to events. If we expect our partner to behave in a certain way or fulfill specific emotional needs, we set ourselves up for disappointment when reality falls short of these expectations. Rationality encourages us to examine our expectations and ensure they are grounded in reality, rather than in idealized fantasies. By aligning our expectations with what is realistically possible, we can avoid the emotional turbulence that often arises when reality doesn't match our desires. Instead, we learn to appreciate our partner and the relationship for what they truly are, without the burden of unattainable ideals. Moreover, Stoicism teaches that love should be rooted in mutual respect, not in the pursuit of external validation or fleeting pleasures. When we approach love with rationality, we focus on building a relationship based on shared values, personal growth, and emotional maturity, rather than on seeking constant affirmation or approval from our partner. This shift in perspective allows us to love more deeply and authentically, without relying on external factors to determine our happiness. Rationality helps us recognize that love is not a source of emotional turbulence or chaos, but a path to greater understanding, fulfillment, and connection with another person. Finally, rationality in romantic love allows us to practice emotional regulation. In moments of conflict or emotional intensity, we often feel compelled to react impulsively, whether it's through anger, jealousy, or frustration. However, Stoicism teaches that we can regulate our emotions through the use of rational thought. Instead of reacting automatically, we can choose to pause, reflect, and decide how to respond in a way that aligns with our principles and goals. Emotional regulation is not about suppressing our feelings, but about understanding them, managing them wisely, and ensuring that they do not control us. By applying rationality in this way, we maintain emotional freedom and prevent our emotions from overshadowing the deeper connection and stability that love can provide. Number 10. From passion to purpose. A Stoic journey of love and fulfillment. Love often begins with the fire of passion, a thrilling rush of emotions that can feel all-consuming and exhilarating. However, while passion is an essential part of romantic relationships, it is inherently fleeting, often giving way to the challenges of reality and the complexities of human connection. This is where Stoicism offers a transformative perspective, guiding us on a journey from the intensity of passion to the enduring depth of purposeful love. Stoic philosophy teaches that true fulfillment in love is not found in the highs of infatuation or fleeting desires, but in building a relationship rooted in virtue, mutual respect, and shared growth. By moving beyond the transient nature of passion and embracing the principles of rationality, self-mastery, and emotional resilience, we can cultivate a love that is both meaningful and enduring. At the core of the Stoic approach is the idea of self-awareness and the ability to understand and regulate our emotions. Passion often clouds our judgment, leading us to make impulsive decisions or to idealize our partner in ways that set unrealistic expectations. Stoicism encourages us to pause, reflect, and bring clarity to our emotions, ensuring that our actions are aligned with our values and long-term goals. This self-mastery allows us to transition from a love driven by fleeting desire to one that is grounded in purpose and shared vision. By recognizing that relationships require effort, patience, and a commitment to virtue, we can move past the superficial allure of passion and build a connection that is both stable and deeply fulfilling. Another key element of Stoic love is the emphasis on virtue as the foundation of a meaningful relationship. The Stoics believed that living a virtuous life, cultivating qualities such as wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance, was the ultimate source of happiness and fulfillment. In the context of love, this means prioritizing integrity, fairness, and respect over emotional whims or temporary satisfaction. A purpose-driven relationship is one in which both partners strive to embody these virtues, supporting each other's growth and encouraging one another to become the best versions of themselves. This virtuous approach transforms love from a mere emotional experience into a moral endeavor, where both individuals are committed not only to their own growth, but also to the well-being and development of the partnership as a whole. The dichotomy of control, a central Stoic principle, also plays a crucial role in this journey. In love, as in life, there are aspects we can control, our thoughts, actions, and attitudes, and aspects we cannot, such as our partner's feelings or external circumstances. Passion often blinds us to this distinction, making us overly attached to outcomes or the need for our partner to behave in a certain way. However, purposeful love is about accepting what we cannot control and focusing instead on what we can, how we show up in the relationship, how we communicate, and how we handle challenges with grace and resilience. By letting go of the need to control or fix our partner, we free ourselves from unnecessary frustration and create space for a more authentic, balanced connection. The Stoic view of impermanence also offers valuable insights on the journey from passion to purpose. Stoicism teaches us to embrace the transient nature of life and relationships, understanding that change is inevitable. Passion may fade, circumstances may shift, and even love itself evolves over time. Instead of fearing this impermanence or clinging to the past, Stoicism encourages us to appreciate the present moment and find fulfillment in the process of growth and change. Purposeful love acknowledges that relationships are dynamic and ever-changing, and it focuses on adapting to these changes with flexibility and grace. By accepting the impermanence of passion, we open ourselves to the deeper, more enduring aspects of love that emerge when we commit to growth and shared purpose. Furthermore, the Stoic journey to purposeful love involves mutual growth. In a purpose-driven relationship, both partners view love as an opportunity to grow together, to challenge each other intellectually, emotionally, and morally. This growth is not about perfection, but about progress, encouraging one another to live virtuously and to pursue a life of meaning and fulfillment. Instead of being consumed by the highs and lows of passion, Stoic love focuses on building a partnership that fosters mutual respect, understanding, and shared values. This commitment to growth transforms love into a source of stability and resilience, allowing both individuals to thrive within the relationship while also maintaining their sense of individuality and self-worth. Ultimately, the Stoic journey from passion to purpose is about redefining love as a deliberate, intentional practice rather than a purely emotional experience. Passion, while beautiful and exhilarating, is only the beginning of the journey. True fulfillment in love comes from building a connection that is grounded in virtue, acceptance, and a shared commitment to growth. By applying Stoic principles, we can navigate the complexities of relationships with clarity and wisdom, transforming the fleeting intensity of passion into a deep, enduring bond that enriches our lives and helps us become better, wiser, and more compassionate individuals. In this way, Stoicism not only guides us to a more meaningful experience of love, but also helps us create a relationship that is resilient, purposeful, and profoundly fulfilling.